Well, welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Claire today. Welcome, Claire.
Hi.
Hi. So, Claire, if you could wave your magic wand and have your wish, whatever you wanted when it comes to food and body, what would that be for you?
If I could wave a magic wand, I'd want to be able to eat whatever I like and be a healthy weight. But obviously that's not going to happen. So I think I would just like to have a healthy relationship with food and stop it consuming my life and thinking about it 24/7.
Got it. So ideally, better relationship with food and lose weight. How much weight are you looking to lose?
I think I need to lose about 5-6 stone.
Okay. And how long have you been kind of dealing with thinking about food 24/7 and dealing with this challenge?
For as long as I can remember. I think I remember about the age 6 or 7. I remember weighing myself back then and conscious about it. But I don't think the diet started until maybe my early teens.
I just want to tell you, if I could wave my magic wand, I'd want to have an accent just like yours. So you're from Scotland, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So how old are you, Claire?
41.
41. And have you, I'm going to guess that you've tried different diets. Have you ever been, successful for a period of time and you lost the weight that you wanted to lose?
Yep. I think I've tried every diet under the sun. I would always lose weight, maintain it for a short time, and then just pile it all back on. I think the one I had most success at was Slimming World, and that was about 3-4 years ago, because I had to have IVF to have my little boy, and they told me I needed to lose weight in order to get IVF. So that was my driving force to do it back then. And now that I have my little boy, that's all out the window, and I'm back to piling the weight back on.
So you know yourself pretty well. Why do you think the extra weight is there?
Because I don't like myself, and I use food to kind of comfort myself. I can use it to make myself feel better. I can use it to celebrate. I can use it for anything, really.
So then you'll turn to food when you're not feeling good.
Yep.
And what are your kind of go-to foods? Do you have any particular ones? When you're feeling like you just need some love from food, what do you do? Chocolate
is the main one. Chocolate or cakes, and then it would be like crisps. So anything bad.
And are there ever times, or can you think of times in the last, 10 or 20 years when you've gone through a period of time and you notice, wow, my eating was pretty good, and I wasn't turning to food so much to, soothe my emotions or whatever it might be?
No.
Has there even been a time when it was just for a weekend that you noticed you didn't think about food so much?
No, it's on my mind all the time.
So you have the one child now?
Yes.
How old is he?
He's 2.5.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you in relationship?
Yeah, married for 10 years.
And how does your partner feel about your weight?
He will tell me that he loves me no matter what, that he does find me attractive, but I don't believe him. and I think he can't really think that.
Mm-hmm.
But he is supportive and he is loving towards me. It's all in my head.
Uh-huh. Well, I just want to say congratulations on finding a good partner.
Mm-hmm.
Really. It's, I'm just thinking in this moment how fascinating the mind can be, our minds, because, here you are married to the person I'm assuming that you love and he loves you, and he's looking at you and saying, honey, I love you no matter what, and I'm good. And somehow we just can't hear that. We can't believe it. And we have to somehow figure out how to believe it for ourselves.
Yeah.
So how was your mom's relationship with food and her weight?
She would always be on diets as well. I would remember her always saying that she was overweight when she wasn't. She's quite a petite lady, and I've never known her to be overweight, but she is quite conscious of it.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys close?
We are now. We weren't really close when I was younger and growing up. I would say the last 10 or so years we've got really close.
Mm-hmm. What do you think was in the way when you were growing up and you weren't that close?
I think, looking back, I think she had problems of her own and she didn't know how to deal with them properly. But I took them the wrong way and I thought it was me that she was angry with or me she didn't like. I felt like she kind of shut me out a bit. I remember her crying in her room and I tried to console her. And she shouted at me just to go away, leave her alone. And I thought that was me. That was me. I'm upsetting her. I'm bad. But obviously looking back now, I can see she's had her own difficulties and that she's just dealt with it the best way that she can. But I've taken it all on board.
Mm-hmm. That's quite an insight, I have to say. Meaning realizing now at a later age, at some point, oh, okay, wait a second. I had this relationship with my mom that wasn't ideal when I was growing up. And I think it's pretty universal, Claire, that children blame themselves. If they see mommy and daddy fighting, a child could think that's my fault. If mommy and daddy are unhappy, or if one of them is unhappy, it's my fault, and I have to do something. I have to fix it. I think it's the innocence in us that just we want to please, and we'll make good observations. Mommy unhappy, but we'll often make poor interpretations. Therefore, I'm the problem. So, I'm aware that in my experience, I think it's generally harder for the women of the world, the females of the world, when it comes to their relationship with food and body. It can be hard for a man, but I think numbers wise, overall harder for women. How does it feel to you as a mom having a son and thinking about you raising him and him having a healthy relationship with food, a healthy relationship with his body? Do you think about that? Do you have any concerns or thoughts around that?
Yeah, I do think about it and I worry about it. I try not to label foods around him as good and bad, and I try not to comfort him with food so that if he's crying, I don't say, here, have a chocolate bar. I am conscious of it, but I also think there are times that I'll let slip.
Mm-hmm. So are you working these days? Or are you being a full-time mom?
I work part-time.
Uh-huh. At home or away?
away in a dental surgery.
Uh-huh. How do you like your work?
I'm on reception, so it's not my ideal job. It's quite stressful. It's not really who I am, but it's a means to an end.
Yes, for sure. So what do you do in your life? And forgive me if I'm bouncing around here and asking all kinds of different questions, but there's always a method to the madness. My brain is very circular in that regard. What are some of the things in your life that you do that just in general just make you feel good, other than food? The things that you do that make you say to yourself, happy to be alive.
To be honest, for especially the last 2 years, things have been pretty bad. I had postnatal depression, so I've been in hospital and receiving treatment and things. And I just felt like I'd lost myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I'm only now slowly feeling like I'm clawing my way back to some sort of normal life. I gave up on everything. I gave up anything I wanted to do, anything I enjoyed. I've only recently just started wearing makeup again because I just wouldn't take any effort with myself. I just lost all interest in life.
Yeah. And that must have been and must be hard because at the same time, you're a new mama.
Yeah.
And you got this tiny little creature who is very dependent on you.
Yeah. And I also felt guilty because we struggled to have him and we needed IVF and we were very lucky to have him. But then I had all these overwhelming feelings and thoughts as well, which just made me feel worse about myself.
Uh-huh. So if you were assessing yourself right now in terms of where you are recovering from that post-birth depression, where would you say you are in that journey?
I feel like I'm about halfway. I feel like I'm certainly a lot better than I was, but I still don't feel quite like me.
Uh-huh. And if you were feeling like me, meaning you, give me some little nuggets, some bullet points that when Claire is feeling like, yeah, I'm me, what would some of that look like, or what would it feel like? What would it be? Describe that person.
To have fun with friends, go out for walks, enjoy nature. I love being creative, so like painting or doing crafty projects. Photography is always a big interest.
Mm-hmm.
Quite quiet and just kind of a home bird, just keep to a few close friends, but still like to enjoy, have fun.
Yes. So are you on any kind of treatment? Are you on any kind of medication?
Yeah, I'm on fluoxetine.
And how long have you been on that?
That's probably about a year and a half, but for a long time I've suffered depression and anxiety, so I've been on other medications since I would say early 20s.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like those are helping you, or they have helped you, especially since birth?
I think the one I'm on just now is helping the best out of the other ones that they tried me on. I feel a bit more stable on this one. Still not quite 100%, but a lot better than I was.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say I'm just really appreciating you being so honest and so real. I know a conversation like this isn't easy, and it's not. We're not talking about something that's just so much fun. And at the same time, I hear that this is a struggle for you. And, I think what happens so often when we're battling a weight issue, or when we're dealing with an eating challenge like emotional eating, I turn to food to make me feel good. I think what ends up happening is we get real focused that I therefore have a food issue and I have a weight issue. And for me, it's always a good reframe to notice that really the extra weight is more of a symptom. The emotional eating is more of a symptom. It's not the actual problem. Meaning, here you have a new child, and I'm sure you've noticed that, at some point he's like a little infant and he's tiny and he's screaming and he's crying and he's upset. And as soon as he gets mama with the bottle or with the breast, he relaxes.
Yeah.
It's literally instantaneous physiologic and emotional change when we are in infancy, when we go from crying, screaming, upset, dysregulated to all of a sudden I've got mama and I've got some good tasting stuff in my mouth and life is good. I got everything I need. So I'm mentioning that because that is a powerful genetic driver for us. Every human being has encoded in our cells, feel bad, eat food, feel better.
Okay.
Feel bad, get some love and connection, i.e. mama, feel better. Feel bad, get mama and food, feel better. So it all becomes connected. Food is love. Mama is love. Mama is food. It's just to the infant, it's all one experience. And I'm going to guess that for you, there was probably a place somewhere along the line. I'm not sure when it happened for you. It doesn't matter. But for us humans, when we don't bond early with mother, when something's interfering with that connection, something's interfering with that beautiful, sweet, wonderful, natural bonding, that becomes problematic for the child. Why am I not getting what I want? Where's the love? Where's the connection? Where's the protection? Where is it? There was a place where, for sure, when you were a child, you were consciously aware that in some way, shape, or form, your connection with your mother wasn't what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So you knew that from a young age. And I'm going to basically say you are likely correct. And now, based on what you've shared with me about your mom, she had her own issues to deal with. And this is what's so crazy about life. You need a driver's license to drive. So you got to demonstrate some proficiency. Us human beings, we can make babies anytime we want, and it doesn't matter what's going on in your life or how ill-equipped we might be. Life doesn't wait. We just reproduce.
Yeah.
And we keep those babies coming, and we're kind of learning on the job. So it's to me, it's never about blaming our parents. It's just us at some point understanding, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And to me, you turned to food at a very early age because you weren't getting the connection that you needed. And a lot of it was likely tied into the way that you didn't quite connect with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't quite connect and get the bonding that we need, we will look to create a substitute for that. Okay, I'm not getting connection. I'm not exactly getting that feeling that I want, which is a good feeling. So how am I going to possibly get that feeling? Ta-da, food.
Mm-hmm.
And we quickly figure that out as youngsters. We figure out that sweet foods make us feel better. Chocolate makes me feel better. Food of all kinds makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So really what I'm saying when I'm kind of listening in on your journey, I'm looking at it like a journey. And a lot of us start our journey out in infancy and childhood, and we got some challenges. And as we get older, we have to unwind those. So to me, you're unwinding them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're learning, this is me. And these things were not me. Oh, here's why I did the things I did. Here's why my mother did the things she did. Oh, I understand now better. So to me, you're positioning yourself to begin to heal and to begin to transform. And I think that part of what's happened for you is that, and this happens for a lot of us, when we are not having a good experience of being in a body, like all of a sudden, at some point in your childhood, whatever age it was, you realize this life in a body doesn't feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm eating food and I'm gaining weight and I'm now dieting or thinking about dieting and thinking about food. And if I gain too much weight, that's bad. Nobody's going to love me, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're turning to food because being in a body is painful, but yet we want to lose weight because we think we'll have a better experience, but we can't because food is the one thing that makes us feel good.
Yeah.
So it's this weird cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yes. So again, food makes me feel good. It's the best, easiest way to feel good really quick. But then I'm turning to food and it makes me gain weight. It makes me not feel good about myself, but I want to feel good about myself. So, back to food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where I think you're at on the map, do you ever go, I don't know, to like a shopping mall and you're trying to figure out the store that you want to go to and they have the big map where all the stores are. But in order to get to the store you want to go to, you have to identify where you are here.
Yeah.
You want to get to here, but here's where you are. So in the map in my mind, you are here, and the place here where you are is called, I am now positioning myself. I'm positioned to break this cycle.
Okay.
You don't know how to do that yet, but you're positioned for it. And the reason I think you're positioned for it is because, number one, a number of reasons. You're a mother, and that's making you mature. It's just asking you to step up. Yeah. Because it's not just you and your challenges, it's also you and your son.
Yep.
And you're also positioned to break that cycle and begin to see success because you're starting to look at your past and kind of forgive yourself a little bit. Oh, this wasn't my fault. Mm-hmm. Your weight is not your fault. Your eating challenges, I turn to food to soothe my emotions, to feel better. It's not your fault. It's part of how we get conditioned as human beings. And now you're undoing that conditioning. Mm-hmm. So I'm just identifying where I think you're at.
Yeah.
Now, once again, I just want you to know the conditioning that has happened for you. It's this habit. It's a lifelong habit of feel bad, eat food, feel better. Mm-hmm. And that habit becomes automatic.
Yeah.
Like you don't wake up in the morning going, I really need to think about eating food today so I can feel better. No, it just does itself.
Yep. Yep.
You don't have to plan on it. You can just go on automatic pilot and you'll eat when you need to. So anytime we have a habit that's automatic and it's unconscious and it's repetitive, meaning the habit does itself. If somebody's a chain smoker, they don't wake up in the morning thinking, okay, I really got to do this chain smoking habit today. All you got to do is wake up and it does itself. So the only way to change an unwanted habit, turning to food for comfort as an example, is to introduce consciousness. So it's an unconscious habit. We learn to introduce consciousness. So to me, that's where you're at. You're learning to introduce consciousness into the equation. Mm-hmm. Hang on with me for a second. When I asked you at the beginning, if you could wave your magic wand, get whatever you wanted, you didn't say lose weight and have a great relationship with food. What you said was, I want to be able to eat whatever I want and not have to worry about my weight. Mm-hmm. So here's why I think that's interesting. And why I really love that, because to me, that's like the 6-year-old in you talking. Yeah. Right? It's the 6-year-old in you talking, which is like, hey, wait a second. This stuff tastes good. Like kids don't want to hear, that's unhealthy for you. If you eat that, you're going to potentially get diabetic and you're going to gain weight. Kids don't care about that. They look at you like you're an alien if you say that. All the child knows is this makes me feel good, adult. Like, don't tell me that. It makes no sense. You're talking a foreign language. Okay. So that's the child in us. So the child in us wants immediate gratification. Mm-hmm. Child in us always wants immediate gratification. I don't care about future consequences because a child can't. It's not their job, really. Yeah. It's the adult's job in our environment to help us understand future consequences, to set rules, to set boundaries, set guidelines, all that kind of thing. But in the child's mind, they are immediate. They are in the present. Mm-hmm. So you are learning how to give that little 6-year-old girl in you a nice big hug and say, wait a second, honey. I know you want immediate gratification, but this doesn't work for us. Yeah. Because this makes me, the adult, unhappy. Mm-hmm. This doesn't help me move forward. So to me, it's as if there are two voices inside you. Mm-hmm. There's adult Claire, who I'm mostly talking with right now, who's saying, hey, I want to get some insight here. I want to get some help. I don't want to be dealing with this nonsense. Yeah. And there's the kid in you that's going, I just want to be able to eat whatever I want to eat and not have to worry about all this stuff.
Yep. Stomping our feet.
Yes, exactly. So that is the part of you that in a way needs to grow up. Yeah. And in order for her to grow up, you have to be a good mother to you. So in a certain way, and in different, psychological approaches, they'll call something like this reparenting or reparenting yourself. Okay. So there's a certain something you might not have gotten, let's say, from your mom. Hey, I love you. We're connected. I see you. I get what you're going through. I'm here for you. You didn't get that sense of I am safe. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. I'm good with the two biggest people and most important people in my life, my mother and father. You didn't get that fully. So food became the substitute in a lot of ways for mama.
Okay.
So now you have to be the mama for you that your mother couldn't be at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're healing your relationship with your mother and that you guys are close right now, that's so good. That's so good because now you can begin to feel that connection with her. And now you can begin to feel, oh, this is what it's like to feel connected to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's like to feel the love flowing between us.
Yeah.
So it's the mother in you now that also has to begin to stop rejecting you.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like my mother or my father is rejecting me when I'm young, what we'll do is we'll incorporate that, we'll introject that, we'll absorb it, and then we'll make it our own. Well, if they're going to reject me, I'm going to reject me.
Yeah.
If people aren't liking me, I'm not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
We don't consciously do that. It's automatic.
Yeah.
It's just a child's response to its environment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the most important people in my life, one of them's doesn't seem to be liking me, and I seem to be causing her pain. Well, I'm not going to like me. I'm going to punish myself. So where I think you're at is you're at the point where in your life where you're ready to begin to choose to like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And to choose to embrace yourself and say, hey, Claire, I'm yours. We're a team.
Yeah.
I'm on your side.
Uh-huh.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I struggle with that part because I think it's how I can't like myself. It's wrong to say you like yourself. And that doesn't sit well with me.
Yes.
But I know I need to do it.
Yes. So thanks for saying that. It is a struggle because for 30 plus years, you've been doing something different. You've been telling yourself, I don't like you, Claire. I don't accept you, Claire. I don't accept Claire's body. And I'm not going to accept Claire's body until I change it.
Yeah.
So instead of looking at it like a struggle, what if we looked at it as if, okay, I, Claire, am learning how to do this. I ain't good at this. Just not good at it. It's not something I've been practicing. I've been practicing the opposite. So it makes sense that I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
It makes sense that your 2.5-year-old isn't good at tennis. He hasn't played it yet. Needs to practice it. So this is you with a fresh start.
Okay.
I really would love for you to think that this is your fresh start.
Mm-hmm.
It's pushing the restart button on your computer and saying, okay, let's try this again.
Yeah.
You're older, you're wiser, and you're surrounded by some good people.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a great relationship. You're a new mother.
Yeah.
That's some pretty good stuff.
Yep.
You got a partner who loves you, even though the parts that he's loving, you're not loving about yourself. He's cool. He's okay.
Yeah.
Proof positive, by the way, that you're lovable as you are. And it actually takes strangely enough, a little bit of work to say, I'm gonna start to take that in a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I want to make a suggestion. I know you want to lose weight. One of the ways I think you're going to get there is to call a little bit of a timeout.
Okay.
A little bit. Because you've been trying to lose weight for a long time. It hasn't worked sustainably for you. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons any human being wants to lose weight, one of the main reasons is because I will be happier.
Yeah.
I will like myself more. I'll love myself more, but I'll definitely be happier. So the challenge is the journey that you've been on, what's been happening inside here is, I don't like myself. I don't like this body. I got to try this diet, this way of eating, do this, do that. And if the message that I'm constantly telling myself is, I'm not good, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, this body is unacceptable, I'm unacceptable, we can't really end up in a destination of happiness if that road is paved with self-attack, self-judgment.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah. I'm just reminding you. So a journey that we take where we're self-attacking can't possibly end up in, and now I like myself.
Yeah.
So it has to be a new journey. And one way to start to make better friends with yourself is to take a time out and stop trying to change yourself in order to be more likable. You don't wake up every morning and say to your son, I'm going to like you better when you have less baby fat. In fact, come back to me when you have less baby fat and we'll talk. Meanwhile, no good. Don't like baby fat. Mm. You'd never say that. You'd never say that to your friend. No. You would never say to your best friends, someone looks like you've gained a little bit of weight. I don't like you anymore.
No.
So you need to start treating you like you would treat a loved one, like you would treat a friend, which is, I don't need to change you in order to like you, or dare I say, love you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm saying you actually probably don't really know who you are, because so much energy, like you say, I'm constantly thinking about food. Yeah. I'm constantly thinking about my weight. I'm constantly trying to control this. So what if we took that off the table for 3 months? Just took it off the table. You could always return. You will return to, thinking about food, wondering about it, but just for 3 months saying, something, let's hang out with this body and this weight. And my new practice is pretend this is the body that I have, and I'm going to have it forever, even though you won't. You'll change it at some point, but let's call a timeout. Stop all the working that you have to do to control, and focus on all the little things that you mentioned before that make you feel happy. Getting out in nature, being with good friends, having good quality alone time, just doing the things that make Claire feel like I'm happy to be alive. Yeah. Because I know this so clearly. You're 40 years old. There's something about age 40 where as soon as we hit age 40, I believe there's a different voice that's born in us. There's a different part of us that comes into being. You ain't in your teens anymore. You're not in your 20s. You're not in your 30s. 40 is the adult in us is truly born. Mm-hmm. And we have more say in our experience. We have more ability to work with our minds, with our mind and our emotions.
Yeah.
So part of it is you choosing, I want to be alive. Literally, it's choosing, I want to be alive. I want to be here for my son. I want to be, the best thing you could do for your son is to be the happiest Claire.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, your son could not care one bit about how much you weigh.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
I remember I was about, 24 years old maybe, and I was with my grandma, and she was a big woman. And I heard somebody in another room refer to her as being fat, and I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen my grandmother as fat. Like, why would they call her fat? And it wasn't just about her body, because oftentimes when we say that word, there's an insult in there.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are you insulting my grandmother, but I just saw her as this loving human being.
Yeah.
It's almost time to see yourself through your son's eyes, through your husband's eyes. Because you got a lot of help. Your kid looks at you and he's not going, gee, I wish mommy would, lose weight or not eat chocolate or what. No. So how you doing? I've been talking a lot. What feels like it's useful for you or landing for you, or what's sticking for you?
I think you have hit the nail on the head. I think it is the small child in me that's stamping her feet and saying, I want my cake and eat it and lose weight as well. And yeah, I'm so much of a people pleaser that I don't really know who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly trying to fit in so that I'm liked. So I go with other people's opinions and things. So I feel like I don't know who I am. I just feel lost. And yeah, I do need to take time out and figure out who I am and like myself.
I want to say something about, beautiful. I love what you just said. I just want to change a few words and see how this feels. Instead of figuring out who you are, that's a piece of it. I think maybe even a bigger piece of it is remembering who you are. Mm. Because when I asked you what makes you feel good, what made Claire feel good and feel good to be alive, you had some answers.
Yeah.
You were very on point about that. So in a lot of ways, you have a lot of information about who you are. You know that you can be a people pleaser. You know that you want people to love you. So, okay, who do I have to be and what do I have to do so you all love me? So you know yourself in a lot of ways. And you're now getting to know the part of you that is stepping into your power more. So yeah, you don't know her as well, but you still know a heck of a lot. And part of it's remembering that and reminding yourself to be the Claire that when you do certain things, you're happier. You feel better.
Yeah.
So I wholeheartedly recommend that you really look at what's it going to take for me to take 3 months and just pretend. You're literally pretending, okay, here's me. How can I now take 3 months and just treat this body with more care, treat it with more kindness? You're not trying to change it. You're not giving it conditional love. Conditional love means I will love you when you do this thing that I want you to do. Otherwise, I don't love you.
Yeah.
The people you love most and that love you the most love you unconditionally. Your son loves you unconditionally. Your husband loves you unconditionally. I bet your mother loves you unconditionally. Some of your friends love you unconditionally. They're not trying to change you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about getting to know you getting to know you without trying to change yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't weigh yourself. I'm not saying eat whatever you want to eat. What I'm saying is just be present with yourself. Yeah, you might emotionally eat. So, and then you do that and you don't feel good. What might be a helpful practice is to learn to start forgiving yourself.
Mm.
And when you do something that you wish you wouldn't have done, do the thing that you would do with your friends or your husband or your son. If your son is learning how to walk and he falls down, you don't smack him and you don't guilt trip him because he fell down.
Yeah.
If he falls down and cries, you give him a big hug and you encourage him to try again.
Mm.
So same with you. You're learning how to be a parent to yourself. And you're going to be able to regulate your emotions better without food as you start to practice that.
Okay.
So practicing it means forgiving yourself. As you start to, when you do something that you wish you wouldn't have done, notice if you start to beat yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
And ask your mind to stop that. Not interested in those words. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a practice. Does that sound interesting or inspiring or doable for you?
It does. It sounds inspiring and exciting to try it, but also scary because it will be hard, and I know it will take a long time because I'm quite an impatient person as well. So I like instant results, and I get put off if I don't have the instant results. But I know it will take time to get there.
Yes. And once again, the part of me and the part of you that wants instant results is completely connected to the part of us that wants immediate gratification. Mm-hmm. Hey, just give me some sugar. I don't feel good. What's the problem? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I just want everything to work out my way right now. Why is it taking so long? Why doesn't the universe just give me what I want when I want it, the moment I say I want it?
Mm-hmm. That would be good.
Yeah. So it's you getting to know that voice in you. You really seeing her in you and not criticizing her, but just understanding that that's the child's voice in you. And you're going to mother her like a good mother and say, okay, I know you want immediate gratification, but something that doesn't always work. Mm-hmm. And we're going to learn to relax into life more. We're going to learn to trust a little bit more. We're going to learn to be patient.
Yeah.
So you're learning to be patient with yourself,
mm-hmm.
just as you would be patient with your child. Literally, if you ever get confused, think, okay, the way I treat my child is the way I need to treat myself. The way I mother my child is the way I need to be in relationship with myself. Unconditional love. And it's a practice. You're not going to be perfect. It's just a practice.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I feel good. And I'm really grateful I got this opportunity to talk to you. I think it has helped.
I'm really glad. I feel very hopeful for you. I feel very confident for you. And, because I've been doing this so long, sometimes it's just apparent for me when I'm speaking with somebody And I can just see you're at that inflection point. You're at the point where you are ready to change from one state to another. When I asked you, where you're at in the recovery process from postpartum depression, you said you're about halfway there. And I always think of halfway there, meaning my head just popped above water. So I'm not drowning. Yeah, I'm not where I want to be, but at least I'm breathing.
Yeah.
And I'm not drowning. That's actually a really good place. It's a really good place. And I just want to, say that so much of this is about you kind of choosing yourself. Your husband chose you on some level. You chose him. You chose your best friends. Sometimes we have to just choose ourselves. Like, I want to be this guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there's so much in the way of choosing myself. Well, no, I'm not choosing myself because I don't like this body. I don't like this weight. I don't like blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's literally learning. We're learning how, as adults, sometimes to choose myself, even though I don't have the ideal body, even though I don't have the ideal weight, even though I'm not exactly where I want to be in my life. You can still choose yourself. Mm-hmm. And you can choose to be a person who's still growing and learning.
Yeah.
To me, you're a person who's growing and learning. Kind of like everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, Claire, I think you did such a great job. I just so appreciate you being just so real and so open and so honest and just so willing to be in a big conversation like this. I don't take that for granted. And I just think that speaks so much about who you are and what you're capable of.
Thank you. And thanks for your help. I've really appreciated it.
Me too. I'm glad we can do this. Yes. And thanks everybody for tuning in. More to come. Take care, my friends.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.